The lights of an NFL stadium flicker. The crowd is roaring, but in the middle of the chaos, one man stands still. His face is pale, his eyes are cold, and where most men wear a smile for the cameras, he wears a snarl with 2 front teeth missing. He doesn't just look different, he feels different. This is not the body of a prototype linebacker. His frame is tall, his shoulders narrow, his build almost too lean for the brutality of professional football. At first glance, he looks more like a kid who wandered onto the wrong field than the man who would soon terrify quarterbacks across America. But the truth? Jack Lambert wasn't born to look the part. He was born to rewrite it. And when he pulled that black and gold jersey over his shoulder pads, he transformed. He wasn't a man anymore. He was a storm, violent, relentless, and merciless. Some called him a mad dog. But to those who faced him, he was something far scarier. A force of nature. Welcome to Black and Gold Legacy, where the legends of Pittsburgh come alive. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you believe the stories of the Steelers deserve to live forever. Early life. Jack Lambert grew up in the small town of Mantua, Ohio, far from the bright lights of the NFL. He wasn't born with the body of a football star. In fact, when people saw him as a teenager, most thought he looked awkward, too thin, too tall, too fragile to ever make it in such a violent sport. But Mantua was not a place for the soft. Life there was about grit, and grit is what Lambert carried in his veins. At Crestwood High School, Lambert played both quarterback and linebacker. On one side of the ball, he was the leader, the thinker, the calm decision-maker. On the other, he unleashed chaos. It was as if he lived 2 lives, brains and brutality wrapped into one. He didn't look intimidating, but every time he got hit, he got back up. And every time someone doubted him, he proved them wrong. At Kent State University, under legendary coach Don James, Lambert grew into his true identity. He focused on defense, where his instincts and aggression could shine. He learned discipline, positioning, and patience. But more than anything, he leaned into his natural edge, violence. By the time he left Kent State, he was no longer the scrawny, uncertain kid from Mantua. He was a linebacker ready to unleash hell. And in 1974, the Pittsburgh Steelers took him in the 2nd round of the NFL draft. Most teams overlooked him. The Steelers saw something the others didn't, a fire they couldn't teach. The rookie who changed everything. The 1974 Pittsburgh Steelers locker room was stacked. Joe Green, Franco Harris, Mel Blount, Terry Bradshaw, future Hall of Famers at nearly every position. But when Jack Lambert walked in as a rookie, he didn't shrink. He didn't get intimidated. He walked in with fire in his eyes and a chip on his shoulder the size of Ohio. The Steelers' defense was already great, but they needed a middle linebacker who could tie it all together. The role required leadership, intelligence, and fearlessness. And that's exactly what Lambert delivered. From his first practices, he stood out. Coaches noticed he never backed down. Veterans noticed his eyes, always locked, always burning. By mid-season, he wasn't just holding his own. He was dominating. His rookie season was so ferocious that he earned NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. That same year, the Steelers captured their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Lambert didn't just watch from the sidelines. He was a driving force, setting the tone with his violent hits and relentless energy. The rookie who wasn't supposed to make it had just helped launch a dynasty. The mad dog of the Steel Curtain. The Steel Curtain is one of the most feared defenses in NFL history. But every fortress needs its enforcer, and Lambert was it. Joe Green was the destroyer up front. Mel Blount erased receivers downfield. Jack Ham was the professor, dissecting plays with brilliance. But Lambert, he was the edge, the wildness, the fire that made the whole machine terrifying. He wasn't just tackling, he was hunting. His toothless grin became an icon. His snarls, his intensity, his willingness to taunt opponents, all of it created an aura of fear. Opposing quarterbacks dreaded seeing him lined up across the ball. Running backs knew that if Lambert had a clean angle, they were about to meet pain. Fans in Pittsburgh adored him for that very reason. He wasn't polished, he wasn't pretty. He was raw, violent, and authentic. He embodied everything the Steel Curtain stood for. He didn't just play football. He made football look like war. The pain and the passion. Greatness doesn't come without a cost. and Lambert paid it in pain. He played through broken ribs, dislocated fingers, concussions, and injuries that would have sidelined anyone else. He never asked out of a game. He never let pain slow him down. The 1976 season became the defining showcase of his toughness. With quarterback Terry Bradshaw injured, the Steelers' offense faltered. The season should have collapsed. But Lambert and the defense refused to let that happen. Over 9 straight games, the Steelers allowed just 28 total points, an unimaginable feat even in today's NFL. Lambert was at the center of it all. Fierce, vocal, dominant. That year, he was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year. But to Lambert, it wasn't about awards. It was about pride. It was about showing the league and the city of Pittsburgh that no matter what happened, the Steelers would never go down quietly. That passion, that pain, became the soul of his game. The dark edge. Jack Lambert wasn't just a linebacker. He was a menace. He thrived in chaos. He played with an edge that some called dirty, others called necessary. When he slammed opponents to the turf, he didn't just celebrate. He glared into their soul. His infamous line, "Quarterbacks should wear dresses," wasn't a throwaway quote. It was a declaration of how he believed football should be played. Brutal, unforgiving, merciless. He talked trash. He intimidated. He crossed lines that blurred the space between controlled aggression and pure madness. To his fans, he was a hero. To his enemies, he was the villain. But whether you loved him or hated him, you couldn't ignore him. Jack Lambert had become the embodiment of football's dark side, and its passion all at once. The beginning of the end. By the early 1980s, time and punishment had started to wear Lambert down. His body had absorbed more hits than most men could survive. But it was in 1984 when fate delivered its cruelest blow. It wasn't a dramatic collision or a broken bone. It was something deceptively small, a turf toe injury. At first, it seemed minor. Just a toe injury, right? But for a linebacker, that big toe was everything. Balance, leverage, explosiveness. The ligament was badly damaged. Every step was agony. His once explosive bursts turned into painful limps. Lambert did what he always did. He fought through it. He taped it, shot it up, played until his body gave out. But no matter how hard he pushed, he knew the truth. The mad dog couldn't chase forever. In 1985, after 11 unforgettable seasons, Jack Lambert retired. The last roar and legacy. He left the game with 4 Super Bowls, 9 Pro Bowls, 6 All-Pro selections, and a Hall of Fame career. But ask anyone who faced him, and they won't talk about the stats. They'll talk about the snarl, the eyes, the violence, the fear. Jack Lambert wasn't just a linebacker. He was the definition of intimidation. He redefined toughness. He embodied Pittsburgh. He became a legend. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the strongest. But he was the scariest. Opponents didn't just prepare to face him. They prayed to survive him. Teammates didn't just play alongside him. They fed off his fury. Jack Lambert was more than a linebacker. He was the beating heart of the Steel Curtain, the living embodiment of Pittsburgh's grit, and the shadow that haunted every quarterback of the 1970s. When the black and gold took the field, it wasn't just a team, it was a storm. And at the center of that storm was number 58. Legends are remembered for what they win, but true icons, they're remembered for what they leave behind. And what Jack Lambert left behind was more than trophies. He left behind a legacy of fear, a standard of toughness, and an image that, even today, sends chills down the spine of anyone who dares to whisper the name of the Steel Curtain. Thanks for watching. This is Black and Gold Legacy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because stories like these aren't just history. They're a reminder of why Pittsburgh football will always live forever.